Okay, well, welcome to Manchester Jazz Society. My recital tonight is the Steeplechase story. It started that I noticed a lot of the records I was playing and enjoying were all on the Steeplechase label. The label doesn't have the kudos of Blue Note, but it has a lot in common with Blue Note. A lot of the artists and the same ethos about artistic freedom. So I decided to dig a little deeper into the Steeplechase story. It was based in Copenhagen, Denmark, founded in 1972 by Niels Winter, who, whilst a student at Copenhagen University, was moonlighting as a sound engineer at Montmartre Club in Copenhagen, a popular stop for visiting US jazz musicians. With their permission, Winter would record performances. He became friends with the US community in Copenhagen. They included Dexter Gordon, Kenny Drew, Shihab, and Ben Webster. It was Jackie McLean who suggested putting out a record, and the first Steeplechase release was live at Montmartre by Jackie McLean. But then a moment's consideration would tell you that great live performances don't automatically translate to great records. There are different factors at play, you know, the immediacy, the thrill, the sense of occasion, and perhaps the solos go on a bit too long for home consumption. So that's why I'm not playing anything from Live at Montmartre by Jackie McLean. But McLean returned in July 1973 in the company of saxophone legend Dexter Gordon. So this is where I'll begin. And it seems appropriate because it was another duo with Dexter Gordon when he partnered Wardell Gray that gave the label its name. That's the famous tenor duel at the Steeplechase. So this is Rue de la Harpe with the tenor alto team of Dexter Gordon and Jackie McLean, with Kenny Drew piano, Niels Henning Orsted Pedersen bass, and Alex Riel drums. It received belated release on the 2002 Steeplechase release album, The Meeting.
No sound at my end there, Mike.
What, no sound?
Anybody got the sound?
Yeah, we're okay, Dennis.
I ain't got sound at all.
theory about steeplechase. Might be stepping on a few people's toes here, but here goes. The label allowed the musicians to be their best selves. The featured recordings in this recital are mostly superior to comparable US recordings. My next selection is a case in point, a duo between Lee Konitz and bassist Red Mitchell, produced by Nils Winter in 1974. To my mind, it's something close to jazz perfection. Familiar territory, just one of those things. It's from I Concentrate on You, a tribute to Cole Porter. And the chemistry between Konitz and Mitchell is incredible. It's established in the West Coast in the 50s. Red, who I've never known to be so supple and rubber-limbed, spurs Konitz to fresh heights. So this is just one of those things from I Concentrate on You. most of the steeplechase artists belonged to what you might call the second wave of the migration of jazz musicians from the USA to Europe. The first wave was a post-war phenomenon and included such seminal figures as Bud Powell, Kenny Clarke, Don Byas, and Lucky Thompson. Asked why they made the move, the musicians would say something about how they liked the relaxed lifestyle. What they meant was that Europe was free from the all-pervasive racial oppression of the USA. These conditions didn't abate, and the one-way traffic continued. Most of the steeplechase artists belong to a second wave. Pianist Horace Parlan is representative. Born in Pittsburgh in 1931, he is perhaps best known for his stint with Charles Mingus's jazz workshop in the 50s. From 1963 to 66, he was a sideman in Roland Kirk's band. He disappeared from view for a while and turned up in Copenhagen in 1972. His steeplechase debut featured two other expats, Idris Suleiman on flugelhorn and Ed Thigpen on drums. The rest of the group were Danish musicians, Bent Heidig on tenor sax and Hugo Rasmussen on bass. This is back from the gig from the album entitled Arrival. Right. I mentioned the Blue Note link. All the artists featured thus far recorded for Blue Note, albeit Booking the Trend. Lee Konitz's Blue Note albums came after his Steeplechase albums. Horace Parlan made 6 albums for Blue Note. Duke Jordan, the featured pianist on a handful of recordings from the 40s with Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, and Max Roach, recorded 1 album as a leader for Blue Note, Flight to Jordan from 1961. His 1978 Steeplechase debut references the title and is called Flight to Denmark. Perhaps you can get the hints of relief, gratitude, and satisfaction at his delight in his adopted country. Duke Jordan settled permanently in Copenhagen in 1978. Flight to Denmark, appropriately enough, is a sprightly, happy number and has Ed Thigpen, someone else who caught the flight to Denmark, on drums, and Mads Vinding on bass. Ken McIntyre is an intriguing musician, an alto and flute player, but known to stretch to oboe, bass, clarinet, and bassoon. If you do look for the name, you'll always find it in adventurous contexts, with Eric Dolphy on Looking Ahead and Cecil Taylor on Unit Structures, and later a charter member of Charlie Hayden's Liberation Music Orchestra. If he's not as well known as he should be, it's because he maintained a parallel career in music education, teaching in public schools, i.e., state schools. He never stopped playing, however, and made 5 albums with Steeplechase between 1974 and 1978. Later, he would change his name to Makanda Ken McIntyre. Makanda in native African tongues means many skins, or many hands. The 1975 Steeplechase album Home unites him with Jackie Bayard and definitely puts him in the category of a player worthy of more love. Too late, sadly, because Dr. Makanda Ken McIntyre died of a heart attack at the age of 69 on Wednesday, June the 13th, 2001, at his home in Harlem, New York. So this is Undulation from the Steeplechase album Home. it seems you weren't contractually obliged to live in Denmark to record for Steeplechase, because my next selection is Ode to Saint Cecilia by Mary Lou Williams from the 1975 Steeplechase album Free Spirits. In 1975, Mary Lou Williams was still in great form, which is the robust health you get from a lifetime of sharp and sure piano playing, delivered with practiced ease. But still, with an inquiring, receptive sensibility. For instance, she gets downright funky on Ode to Saint Cecilia. The patron saint of music makes a great combination with Mary Lou Williams, who was a highly spiritually developed person herself. Buster Williams is on bass and Mickey Roker is the drummer. Thanks. So Steeplechase were involved in the interface between bop, post-bop and the post-Coltrane generation because that was what was going down when they made their appearance on the scene. The ultimate goal for three players like Anthony Braxton and Archie Shepp was to reach forwards and backwards simultaneously. And after moving forward to prove their mettle on standards, utilizing some of their discoveries, the continuity of the jazz movement was at stake. So a lot was riding on In the Tradition by Anthony Braxton. And it was so good that it was followed in short order by In the Tradition Volume 2. This is Braxton's take on Half Nelson by Miles Davis from Volume 2. Niels Henning Orsted Pedersen is the bassist and Albert Tutti Heath, the drummer. Tete Montolio is the pianist. Does he fit? The approach is linear and Tete's lush chording seems a bit out of place. He must have felt it himself because he drops out for a long stretch and then re-emerges with a solo that is mostly single-lined. The track oddly fades in and fades out. Might it be a symbol of permanent flow? Oh, I'll confess, tenor saxophonist Clifford Jordan didn't have much name recognition for me until I realized I had him pegged as Cliff Jordan, a Blue Note recording artist and Lee Morgan's sideman, though he's all over the triple album, A Great Concert of Charles Mingus, as Clifford Jordan. So, a player neglected at home in the USA despite notable service, tick, a regular visitor and sometimes resident of Europe, tick, a Blue Note recording artist, tick, a jazz musician called Jordan, tick. Clifford Jordan was a natural for Steeplechase privileged status. Bearcat by Clifford Jordan and The Magic Triangle doubles as a tribute to Cedar Walton, another musician who received the steeplechase treatment. Jordan and Walton met on a session in the 60s and had such a chemistry that Walton was a regular of Jordan's band Magic Triangle, and Jordan was a mainstay of Walton's group Eastern Rebellion. The association was sundered only by Deaf Jordans in 1993. Billy Higgins, another illustrious name, is drummer. Bassist Teddy Smith replaced Sam Jones, Triangle's original bassist. And so the Magic Triangle, I guess, were Steeplechase's resident supergroup. This is Bearcat by Clifford Jordan and the Magic Triangle from The Highest Mountain, recorded in 1976. So another bass duo now. We'll close the first set with this one. There is surely no unit more compact or appealing than a bass duo, especially with singer Sheila Jordan as one half. Sheila excels because spare accompaniment always gives her maximum melodic and rhythmic freedom. Interestingly, she was married to Duke Jordan from 1952 to 1962, and that may even have relevance to the Steeplechase story, but I haven't explored so as deep as that. The bassist is Arild Anderson, famed for his association with Jan Garbarek and ECM Records. The song Hold Out Your Hand is written by Steve Kuhn, an erstwhile collaborator of Jordan's, who made some records on ECM. But park that for a while. I'll make a comparison with ECM after the interval. This is Hold Out Your Hand by Sheila Jordan and Arild Anderson.
Dio go down, shake it down, Dio go, shake okay, you Dio go, shake okay, you da. Got a day, you get you today, where you go, get you today, got to today, you go, got to today, you go, where you go, you got a day, you know, got a day, go Dio go, get you Dio go. Get today, get today, go to today, falling all over the floor. I can't seem to find my way. Every time I lift my glass, people laugh at me. Won't you tell me how to behave? Here's my hand, look in my eyes. That's all I ask of you. I really want of you. I'm alive, everyone seems so lost in the past. It's you I love, as my head is clear most of the time. All I ask of you, I really want of you. Falling all over the floor, I can't seem to find my way. Every time I lift my glass, people laugh at me. Won't you tell me how to behave? Here's my hand, look in my eyes. That's all I ask of you. I really want of you. I'm alive, everyone seems so lost in the past. It's you I love, as my head is clear most of the time. All I ask of you, I really want of you.
Thanks, guys. Remember my challenge? Can you find better examples of a player's art than these tracks taken from Steeplechase albums? After the definitive Lee Konitz duo performance, here's the definitive Lee Konitz nonette performance, a version of Footprints, the Wayne Shorter composition as immortalized by Miles Davis. The lineup is Lee Konitz on alto, Ronnie Cuba on baritone, Jimmy Nepper on trombone, John Eckhart on trumpet, Tom Harrell on trumpet, Sam Burtis on bass trombone, Harold Danko on piano, Buster Williams on bass, and Billy Hart on drums. The only thing to take the shine off the Bliss is the title of the 1979 Steeplechase album. I don't know if we can blame Nils Winter or Lee Konitz himself for this shocking lapse of taste, but it's called Yes, Yes, Nonette. Johnny Diani Quartet brought together alto saxophonist Dudu Pakwana and bassist Johnny Diani from the Blue Notes, the group that revitalized the British free jazz scene when they landed in London from South Africa in the 60s. Drummer Mayaka Shoko and fellow traveller and world citizen trumpeter Don Cherry. I love it when the Blue Notes or affiliates rein in their ebullience to essay something melancholic and majestic, but of course the exuberance is irrepressible. So this is Song for Biko, the title track of the 1979 Steeplechase album by the Johnny Diani Quartet, a tribute to the fallen anti-apartheid activist. the case of Duke Jordan, at least Nils Winter offered something Alfred Lyon couldn't: long-term career development. From 1974, Jordan recorded more than 30 albums for Steeplechase. What's great is that you can hear Jordan blossom. Exile worked out well for him. So this is Truth, a quintet performance from a 1975 album, Duke's Delight, with Richard Williams on trumpet, Charlie Rouse on tenor, Sam Jones on bass, and Al Foster on drums. I love Al Foster. For most, saxophonist Archie Shepp is the embodiment of jazz's raw protest. So, on the face of it, the statement, I'm worse than a romantic, I'm a sentimentalist, is puzzling. And then you hear the Steeplechase album of spirituals he recorded with Horace Parlan in 1977, and it all makes sense. Listening is a moving experience as the personal, cultural, and spiritual significance of a quest for solidarity with one's ancestors becomes clear. Also, I would say spirituals have a claim as the patrimony of all humanity, especially when one of the spirituals in question is the second movement of Symphony Number 9 by Dvorak. And do you remember the BBC World Service documentary of Horace Parlan at the end of his life in a nursing home in Denmark and receiving daily phone calls from Archie Shepp? So this is Going Home by Archie Shepp and Horace Parlan. Regarding the Steeplechase challenge, I would say Out of This World, a 1981 steeplechase released by tenor saxophonist Teddy Edwards, with a quartet of Kenny Drew on piano, Jesper Lundgaard on bass, and Billy Hart on drums, doesn't surpass the classic Teddy's Ready, the LP he made on the West Coast with Howard McGee in 1960, but damn it, it is its equal almost for honest to goodness, vigorous and lyrical hard bop. That should be enough. So this is No Name number 1 from Out of This World by Teddy Edwards. So Billy Galt is a name I uncovered during research. I was drawn to When Destiny Calls, 1975 Steeplechase album, by the presence of Jolie Wilson on vocals, and everything I've heard by Jolie Wilson I've loved. He was a kind of Johnny Hartman of the New York loft scene. He's on the next selection. The time of this world is at hand, and is joined on vocals by Ellen DeLeston, with Bill Saxon on tenor sax, James Benjamin on bass, and Michael Carvin on drums. The leader, pianist Billy Galt, is little known. The most I can glean is that he converted to Islam and changed his name to Khalim Zarif. And When Destiny Calls is one of only 2 albums he's made as leader, though he has also recorded as sideman with Jackie McLean. The time of this world is at hand has a sadly topical message.
Let the trumpet sound throughout the land. For this evil world, it will not stand. For the truth has struck a blow. You must choose the way that you will go. For the time of this world is at hand. We must sacrifice and be as one. For the holy war, it has begun. Love of self and love of kind is just what we need to heal our mind. For the time of this evil world is at hand. It is the time of great confusion, and all the people are making war. What we need is a man who can understand that what our people really need is some land. It is the time of the great separation, and all the people must make a choice. So let the truth be our guide, for we must choose the righteous side. For the time of this world is at hand. evil world, it will not stand. For the truth has struck a blow. You must choose the way that you will go. For the time of this world is at hand. For we must sacrifice and be as one. For the holy war, it has begun. The love of self and life of God is just what we need to heal our minds. For the time of this evil world is at hand. It is the time of great confusion, and all the people are making war. What we need is a man who can understand that what our people really need is some land. It is the time of great separation, and all the people must make a choice. So let the truth be our guide. We must choose the righteous side. For the time of this world is at hand. For the time of this world is at hand. For the time of this world is at hand. For the time of this world is at hand. For the time of this world is at hand.
I promised you an ECM comparison. Steeplechase don't have the immediately recognizable signature sound of ECM, but this only tells me that Winter is one of those producers who do their best to realize the musician's intentions and don't impose their own vision on their artists. And Munich, Germany has less of a US expat community than Copenhagen. But Steeplechase reached out to native Danish guitarist Pierre Doge, a player with a clean, bright tone of a Ghanaian highlife guitarist. Doge's Big Small Band is the new jungle orchestra, which pushes the global village idea of the music with roistering horns, high-life guitar, and layered percussion. Pierre Doge and the new Jungle Orchestra cut an album for Steeplechases recently. There's 2025, so yes, it is still active. But my next selection is from the 1984 edition with John Chakai, Johnny Diani, Irene Becker, Michael Marr, and Marilyn Mazur. This is Monk in Africa, and the album is Brikama, and it's my last selection. today, Steeplechase is still active, and Nils Winter, at the age of 82, maintains a demanding release schedule of 30 to 40 albums a year. Long may he continue, I say. I thank you.